Joy Hewer lived a quiet and peaceful life in London. She was raised with her younger brother Stephen and younger sister Penny, and had been brought up in the area around North London. Joy had never married, instead devoting her life to her career as a primary school teacher, primarily at Woodhouse Primary School. In 1990, at the age of 46, Joy retired from teaching for health reasons, but continued to help those in the local area. She volunteered at a variety of places, always getting involved with local charity events whenever she was asked. When Joy left teaching, it gave her the opportunity to devote her time to the other love of her life, which was the church. Joy was a devout Christian and visited several churches in the Walthamstow, Notting Hill areas of North London, although mainly worshipping at St Mary's Church in Walthamstow. It was at St Mary's where Joy's devotion to the church is most prominent. She volunteered at soup kitchens based there and involved herself in helping to clean the church, fundraising for the church, and even undertaking the admin for the church. Joy also assisted at the London Healing Mission. Outside of the church and teaching, Joy adored her nieces and nephews, and they adored her. With her teaching experience, Joy was always fantastic with children. Joy resided in a block of flats called St David's Court, and lived alone on the 6th floor of the tower block located in Walthamstow, and had done for many years. The 52-year-old, who had nothing in her heart other than kindness, was absolutely no harm to anyone, living a quiet and peaceful life, one which would be totally at odds with the horror which was about to come her way. The day of Thursday, October the 17th, 1995, started like any normal day for Joy. In the afternoon, she visited the London Healing Mission in Notting Hill, where she carried out voluntary work. She was seen by a colleague leaving the centre at around 3:30 p.m. Just before 6 p.m, she headed towards Pembridge Road, which is not far from her home address, and went into a chemist. This sighting can be confirmed as the staff there knew her. Shortly afterwards, Joy returned to her residence. This time was also confirmed by one of the other residents of St David's Court, who spoke to Joy as they passed in the hallway. After returning home at roughly 6 p.m, Joy spent the next few hours relaxing. She made several telephone calls that evening to both family and friends. Everyone who spoke to Joy that night noted nothing unusual in the calls. She seemed her normal, cheerful self. The last time Joy can be confirmed as being alive is at 9:45 p.m. that evening, when she telephoned her brother, who was not at home, but instead spoke to her nephew. After chatting for a few minutes, and again nothing unusual in the call, Joy told her nephew she was going to head to bed. This would be the last time anyone would speak to Joy. Within a matter of hours, Joy would be dead. It was at 11:18 p.m. that evening that a phone call was made to the London Fire Brigade, which would be the start of one of the most heart-wrenching and complex murder inquiries that the Metropolitan Police have ever undertaken.
Emergency, which service?
Yeah,
Do you want the police, fire brigade or an ambulance?
fire brigade, please.
Connecting you now. Hold on, please.
Okay.
Fire brigade. Hello, this is Planet connecting payphone 0181 527 6035. Thank you. Hello, fire brigade. Can I help you?
Hello, you know the junction, it's in E17, yeah? Walthamstow, St David's Court. The block of flats. Is it a junction?
Yeah.
I was just driving past there and I saw like flames coming out one of the floors. I'm not sure what floor it is, but I just saw it and I thought, well, I better just.
Yeah, so when you say it's at the junction, what's it at the junction of?
It's at the junction of it's going into Walthamstow.
Yeah, I don't know
or
the area at all.
Chingford.
Sorry?
Or Chingford. I don't know if they saw I think it might be Wood Street.
Wood Street?
Yeah. Hold on, let me ask someone.
Okay.
I'll ask someone. Excuse me, mate. Excuse me. You know the name of this street?
5:30.
Yeah, what about the junction up the top of the road there?
No, not that I can see. I just tried it and there was 22.
Straight across. Yeah, it's the junction of cheers, mate. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, Walthamstow Town Hall is in the junction of Wood Street.
Right, Wood Street and the junction of...
I can't even remember what he said. But like what's it called? The town hall, yeah?
Yeah,
Hello?
but that doesn't feature on my computer, the town hall.
No? What about Wood Street?
I've got Wood Street, but it's a long, long road. I need to be able to pinpoint it on the map. Just a second. You don't know the name of another road nearby? One of the junctions?
No, but that is the junction there. That is the
Yeah, no,
junction.
you're only
It
giving me
runs-
one...
It's like a crossroad.
Yeah, you're only giving me one road at the junction. Is it near Wood Street Station?
It's I think it's Forest Street, the other
Forest
one.
Street. Okay, we're on our way.
Yeah?
Okay then.
Does that come up?
Yeah, we're on our way now.
Yeah, okay then.
Alright, bye.
Bye.
When the firefighters broke into the flat, they would be faced by a horrifying scene. Joy's body was discovered in her bedroom. It was soon apparent that she hadn't died because of the fire. She had been stabbed multiple times in the chest, strangled and beat with a blunt object. She had also been sexually assaulted. 2 fires had been started deliberately by the killer, one in the lounge and one in the bedroom, presumably to destroy evidence and cover his tracks. Once the firefighters had extinguished the fires, they reported the scene to the police, who arrived 30 minutes later to begin a murder investigation. The residents of St David's Court were all spoken to, and although most could offer nothing, one did have some information to share. At around 10:30 p.m, a neighbour who lived in the flat below Joy's heard loud noises or banging coming from Joy's flat. The couple, who were also getting ready for bed, had decided to go upstairs to investigate further, more out of annoyance and possibly to complain. However, when the noises suddenly stopped, they decided to instead return to bed, a decision that may well have allowed a killer to escape, or more chillingly, have saved the couple's lives. For the rest of the residents, they were in disbelief how this could happen where they live, and they had to come to terms with the fact that a gentle Christian lady had been so brutally murdered only doors away from where they lay sleeping, and the killer had left a fire burning that could have just as easily led to their deaths also. For investigators, there was a lot to focus on, and a lot of avenues to be checked out. Firstly, why Joy? There seemed to be no motive to attack such a kind-hearted woman, and Joy lived on the 6th floor of the apartment complex. If this was a totally random attack, it would seem there would be much easier targets, even if Joy did live alone. St David's Court has a main access door that is locked and controlled via an intercom system, allowing residents an extra sense of security. In theory, people cannot walk in off the street. They need a key, or a resident of the building would need to allow them access via a release mechanism that can be controlled from a button in a tenant's flat. There was also CCTV covering the door. Police would quickly learn from family and friends that Joy was extremely security conscious, and it would be unlikely that she would let anyone into her apartment she did not know, especially that late at night. Her door was fitted with a Yale-type lock, but also a chain, presumably that allowed you to open the door slightly ajar. Her door also had a peephole, allowing her to view who was there without the need to open it. Officers confirmed there was no forced entry, and also found 2 used coffee cups within the flat, which could suggest Joy had a visitor at some point in that evening. However, she never mentioned anyone visiting her in any of the phone calls prior to her death. For her loved ones who knew her, they do not believe that Joy, who was house-proud and extremely tardy, would ever use 2 cups. Instead, she would rinse the one out to drink from again. One lead in the case did emerge. After officers trawled through the CCTV footage from the night of Joy's murder, a man was captured as he entered the front of St David's Court at around 10:30 p.m. This would have been around the time neighbours reported the noise from Joy's flat. Was this grainy image the face of her killer? He is white, aged 30 to 40 years, with short hair. He was wearing a light-coloured jacket. Although the images appear grainy, officers believe that those close to the man would still be able to recognise him. With the case hitting a brick wall, detectives spoke to Joy's family and friends, her former work colleagues and members of the congregation from St Mary's in an attempt to find someone who might have a grudge against her. They drew a blank. All police could come up with was the universal impression of Joy being a well-liked, kind-hearted, devout Christian without an enemy in the world. What then made this woman a target for a killer? As the days turned into weeks and then months and years, Joy's family were left struggling to get answers, and the peace of mind that her killer would ever be brought to justice. The man in the CCTV shot was never identified. The person who made the call to the fire department has also never been identified. The person the caller spoke to, which was assumed was somebody standing in a queue for a bus, either the 212 to Walthamstow Central or W16 to Leytonstone, has also never been identified, and many questions because of all this linger around the case. One such question is, who was the caller who reported the fire, and why did he never come forward? Numerous appeals have been made for this person to make contact with the police. Did the person just call to do the responsible thing and then put it completely out of their mind, or just not want to get involved for whatever reason? The other possibility is that the caller was the one responsible for Joy's murder and was either eager for the authorities to discover his crime, or did the enormity of what he had done, placing the entire occupants of the block of flats at risk of death, and this all of a sudden becoming an even more publicised case, hit him and he panicked and informed the emergency services. As the person has never come forward, this is something we will never know. The man captured on CCTV has also caused much speculation. Inquiries with the occupants of the other flats in St David's Court led to a dead end as to the identity of the man. Nobody came forward to say that they had allowed him access into St David's Court. So who did give him access? The only person they couldn't question was Joy. So was it her? For many who have looked into this case, they believe Joy knew who her killer was. The 2 coffee cups, and what are the chances of a random predator picking a flat, let alone a flat on the 6th floor, at random and finding somebody living there that could be easily overpowered and murdered? And assuming this wasn't random, the question is, where did Joy meet her killer? The only places Joy tended to visit was the church, or she did volunteer work at the London mission. Was it one of these places where she would meet the person who ended her life? Unfortunately, all of these questions remain unanswered, and as of 2025, Joy Hewer's case remains unsolved.